guys, it's DJ Angie C and handsome boyfriend Dave, and we are on summer break, so please enjoy these little best of the worst talk shows. We will see you back in September. Hopefully we'll have a live show and a better platform. Yay! See you guys in September.
Bye. Let me tell you guys, I love you so much. I love this show. They're like, when we were kids, like, Monday night, it was like must see. Thursday night was must see. Wednesday night, the worst talk show is must see. Interwebs love. I love
it.
You
Lives
guys.
up to the name, doesn't it? I mean, that's all we want.
Well, that's the beautiful irony. It's obviously the best. But the fact that you went that way with the worst just really shows, how cool and fun and funny you guys are. And I'm just really.
Can we just wrap this up right now? Because I don't think I can hold it together.
I think I just got a cavity for how sweet
you're being. He is a sweet son of a gun, right?
No, I'm telling you. I mean, it came out of nowhere. I mean, I'm pretty good at like promotion and stuff. And here we are getting ready to walk into tonight's show. And you do a post and it's going on tonight. It's like, wait a minute, am I supposed to be on? Maybe I should be on. And so, of course, it makes sense that, I'm better able to screw up all the information than you guys are for tomorrow night.
And don't sell me short. I can screw up a lot of stuff.
Oh, that's my forte. Trust me, it's my show. And I need, this is my teleprompter. But I just really, thank you.
Well, thank you for asking us, and we love to be a part
We're
of
glad
it.
we can help.
The first thing I want to tell everybody is when it's on tomorrow night.
All right, so here's the wacky thing. I did a couple of these where I kind of went through Facebook, and then ultimately it went over to YouTube. And just this whole virtual video thing, it gets kind of, wonky here and there. So the last couple times I did this, I just went straight to YouTube and just promoted the URLs as many places as I can. Downside is YouTube does not let you do a placeholder for a URL. You can only get your URL the moment you upload the entire thing. So unfortunately, I've only had about a week where I've been able to get the URL out there, which I'm happy to say, but it's kind of like it's a URL and it just looks like a bunch of letters and numbers. The best thing you can do is either go to the virtual video, the virtual video Atomic Fez fundraiser for Boston Facebook event link and look for the YouTube link and click it, or go to YouTube and do a search. You're going to laugh. No virtual video. Just do a search for Atomic Fez fundraiser for Boston. So either get to the link through Facebook or just go straight to YouTube and do a search for Atomic Fez fundraiser for Boston. It's on tomorrow night at 8:15. We could talk for hours on what Facebook lets you do and not do, whatever. But I'm feeling good that we're going to raise some money for our beloved Boston music venues. And quite frankly, so let me embarrass you some more. So you guys, obviously, you hosted the fundraiser we did for Once. And that was heavy lifting in and of itself. And when I did the Detroit version, where I did like a bunch of venues, I got up to like 26, 27 venues. And it was like, you know what? That was really dumb. I am not going to do that many. I'm going to tap out at 20 when I do this next one for Boston.
Only 20.
There's 38 bands.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many bands that you needed extra hosts, basically.
Yes, right.
Well, so the fact that you even agreed to do this at all, whether there was 6 or 7 or 10 or 20, I don't know how I can pay you guys back other than food, drink, whatever, video, graphics, promotion. Hopefully you'll get a broadcast TV show and you'll let me do the video opening for you guys. But really, if you would have said, Smitty, we did the last one, it's too tough, I would have understood and completely respected it. The fact that you signed up and you do, most people do 1 or 2 segments. You do 3 segments. I only do 2. You do 3 segments.
We're like Robert De Niro in Deer Hunter. I do three. I do three.
And all in one take, because if you don't do it in one take, what good is it? I know it wasn't one take, but.
Oh, we're definitely not one take wonders.
Well, where do you
here.
see my intros?
By the way, agreeing to do the second one?
Yeah.
Nobody ever called me smart, pal.
Well, to be fair,
But thank
I
you.
said, listen, we'll do it, but we're only doing 3 breaks, right?
Yeah.
Or 1 or 2, whatever I said. I thought I was really like putting the hammer down.
Yeah,
You know?
we're really being.
Well, so here's the beauty part. So the
You were
reason
like,
why I came up with the idea to have all the hosts do 3 bands at a time is because I realized if it was a host, introduction, playing, PSA, back to the host, this thing would have been 8 hours long. And so it's like, you know, basically what I can do is just have the hosts, you guys and the other hosts who I'll mention in a second, come on and do like 3 artist bands. And then I'll just go pop, 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 you know, and I sneak in some PSAs. The PSAs are kind of like the commercials for the fundraiser. Believe it or not, I would have bet money that this event was going to be 4 hours long. It's just a tad under 3 hours. Just,
Wow.
and and that's long, I get it. But, you know, it's kind of like, you know, everyone who's watching, watch what you can. It's still there. You can come back and watch it at your leisure. But I have to say, some of the performances that were shared with us for this fundraiser, oh my God. I mean, oh my God. I mean, I gave some of the best artists to you guys to introduce.
Yeah, you did.
You better.
John Pahida and Peter Moore, and then Gene Dante and Andrea Gillis and everybody else. I mean, it's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I am so happy with this. I with full disclosure, unless I go back to doing a fundraiser for Rosie's Place, which won't be 38 bands, this is probably the last one. This is probably the last music, you know, if it's not, oh, I don't even want to think about it.
Let's open the places back up just so I don't have to do another fundraiser.
I really didn't get to know you until I moved back to Boston from LA, post-divorce 2012, when I started going back out into the music scene. But you have been out at shows and shooting live music for how long?
Well, it's actually a weird kind of funny story. Since 2015, I was like, I kind of like photography. Maybe I'll just go get a camera and start shooting stuff. I'm like, all right, what do I like? I'm like, well, I kind of like music. So I started going to rock shows and taking pictures. And rockers aren't the most nicest people. I'd like, oh, hey, I just shot your show. They're like, yeah, whatever, cool, whatever. I'm like, oh man, this is tough. So I was at Newbury Comic one day and going through a punk rock magazine. And some people might remember Pat Clement, FNS Pat. He lives out west now. But he had a magazine, and in it was an ad looking for photographers. I'm like, I'm a photographer. Not really. I mean, I really wasn't. I was like shooting for like a month.
Yeah, but I love that. You just did it. You just picked it up and did it.
Yeah, so I called him up. I'm like, hey, I'm a, you know, because this is way before internet stuff, you know, social media. So I'm like, I called him, I'm like, hey, I'm a photographer. You know, I can come down and shoot your shows. He's like, all right, well, meet me at Cambridge Elk next week. There's a big punk rock show, and we could talk. And on the bill it was definitely For the Worst. Might have been Pure Impact. So I met Pat. We talked, and he's like, all right, come to this other show in 2 weeks. And it was like a big 2-day show in Cambridge. He was trying to raise money for skate park, and it was bands like, well, Slapshot was on the bill, but I think they bagged out at the last second. But the guys from Toxic Narcotic, Blue Bloods, and I reintroduced myself to the Pure Impact kids. So same situation. I go to the bands. I'm like, hey, I just shot your show, and they're like, oh my God, that's like the best thing ever. You're like the best. Can you come out to more shows? And I'm like, wow, these guys are way better. These punk guys are better than those rock guys. So I just started shooting punk, and then once you go to a show and start shooting bands, you meet all kinds of other bands, all kinds of other people. And then I just kind of spread it out between rock, a little bit of country. And then right before pandemic hit, I started shooting hip hop. And then that all kind of blew up.
Yeah, and Dutch Rebel is somebody that we both really love.
Oh yeah.
And I love, first of all, my first memories of you are being right up front and not necessarily taking photos, although I certainly saw you taking photos as well. No matter what show I was at and no matter what venue, you were up front and being supportive AF. You know, if there were people just milling around, nobody wanted to go up front yet, like Nikki was right there. And I always loved that about you. But you have been an enormous supporter. Like you always pick up the merch. You're always spreading the word. We saw all these CDs. So you'll buy CDs and then you download them or digitize them, if you will. And then you're like, hey, does anybody need a CD? Like, it's just amazing to me. And I have to just give you a huge, big hug because I think at some point you're single-handedly keeping these musicians fed and alive right now. And I'm just, I love that you do that. And I can't believe that you kind of started in the scene as late as you did. It's crazy.
Yeah, so I was probably in my, late 30s, early 40s.
I love that. That's such
Yeah.
a great story. What were you doing before that? I know you work with fish.
Listen, we weren't going to bring up the fish thing, all right?
Yeah.
Listen,
You brought a halibut.
fishmongers are people too, all right? They don't deserve the derision that they receive in society.
If it wasn't for that job, I wouldn't get to do all the fun stuff.
Right.
Hey, everybody needs a solid day job. That's always been my rule. If you're going to be in any kind of creative endeavor, you know, especially the music biz, you got to have a day job.
Nikki's always slanging that frozen fish, right? Am I right?
Yeah, it's like it's boring. It's
What's
nothing.
the best seller this past month?
You know what? Since pandemic hit, for some crazy reason, king crab legs are selling like crazy. They're $20, $30, $40 a pound. I have no idea who's eating this stuff.
It's funny because they were not a huge deal here in New England. King crab legs, when you have lobster, who needs king crab legs? You know what I mean? They just weren't really a huge thing. And then when I moved to Vegas and then to Phoenix, like that's all people eat.
Yeah,
it's
a West
great.
Coast item.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's weird.
Jet fresh. They used to call them jet fresh king crab legs from Vegas. What else was I going to say to Nikki? I just
I'm
went
sorry,
right out of
I
my head.
interrupted.
I'm like, oh, seafood, yum, yum, yum. Where did you grow up, Nikki?
Oh, that's born and raised in Somerville.
I love it. Well, and so you and Dave are natural sworn enemies, right?
Well, because I wasn't from the part of Somerville that was close to Charlestown. I was from the nice part of Somerville.
Yeah, you weren't from East Somerville.
No, from Ball Square. So we didn't really see too many Charlestown.
Lindell's Bakery?
Yes. Yeah.
We're like family.
Yeah. So yeah. That's not didn't see too many Charlestown kids.
One of the biggest things I miss during the pandemic is the parties that you would throw.
Oh.
And you have this incredible basement, which basically looks like the Rat at one point in its history.
It's actually not painted. It's just all stickers.
Yeah. Yeah. Stuff I used to take off the walls at shows.
And monumentous thing happened at the last party we were at your house. Well, there were a lot of fun things that happened
There were.
that we're not going to talk about broadcast.
Listen, she's a great hostess.
Yes, she is. Remember this face.
Oh, yeah.
But Dave, I had asked Dave to, I knew he had an amazing singing voice, and of course nobody knew, and he did not have a lot of self-esteem about that. And I had said, if I throw a 50th birthday party, I really want you to sing at it. And he was like, I don't know. But he never sang in front of anybody until your party, because you've got all these great musicians and they all got together and just started playing music. And so people would just jump on the microphone.
It's a cool jam. Like people, they kind of like rotate.
It's like a round
in and out.
robin or whatever. Yeah. So at one point they were playing Elvis Costello, but somebody didn't know the words and couldn't look it up on their phone fast enough. And all of a sudden, my heart was like in my throat, and Dave just grabbed the microphone and started singing Elvis Costello. And we were all kind of like, oh my God, is this really happening?
Remember what song it was?
Yeah, it was Peace, Love, and
Yeah,
Understanding,
yeah.
right?
What's so
Oh,
funny about
nice.
peace, love, and
Yeah.
understanding?
But it was a very important moment because then
It was
gave
nice
him,
getting some positive feedback.
yeah,
you know,
and it
so-
gave him the courage to, be able
Not
to.
really.
I
That
mean,
was mostly drugs.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
not
no,
true
it's
at
not
all.
drugs.
No, I love that all happened at your house.
That
So-
was our last party, and that was probably the best party because there was probably about 200 people here. And
Oh yeah.
there was,
It
yeah,
was-
that was the time we had our first saxophone player, Terry from Stop Calling Me Frank. Swine.
Yep.
He showed up with a sax, and our first time having keys. Jeff Bloke brought keys.
And the other thing I loved about your party is that there were all different walks of life. There were all different cliques from all different parts.
Yeah, that's what Lorek said.
Wasn't Jason from
Jason from
Babes
Babes,
was
and like
there?
Babes
That
were
was
there.
fun.
Yeah.
Like,
That was fun.
Yeah, Babes did a set.
All right, so Casey Riddles wants to know what your favorite show you shot so far would be.
Oh, I don't know.
Do you have a favorite?
No, they're all awesome, because they're all my friends.
Yeah.
I like-
and Joe-
Smart. That was a smart
No,
answer.
that is the smart answer. What we're listening to, really, it all comes down to 90s hip hop this week. So Brian Morin, who I don't think I know in real life, but is a friend on Facebook, and I believe he's from Salem, put the link to Pass the Mic by DJ Cassidy on my wall. Now, a lot of people put links, and it's a pet peeve of mine. When people send me video links, I'm like, could you not? Because, like, I can't watch it right now, and I'm too busy, and I don't have the time, and what are you really sending me?
Yeah. What are you
And
selling? Or
don't waste my time.
you're
But
annoying
so,
me.
Finally, I had posted on my exercise bike where I was listening to like Craig Mack or something. And so I was listening to some old school hip hop. So then he put this link on, and I'm like, oh, I gotta go back to that. So I finally go back to it, and I click on it, and I was like, what is this? Who is this skinny,
Yeah, like
okay, DJ Cassidy kid with this big like Panama hat on?
It's
Like
not-
I
it's
was
not a
like,
Panama
what is
hat, it's,
going on?
I forget what they call that hat. It's an interesting hat. It's almost like the hat that what's his name? Pharrell wore. It's that kind of idea.
Pharrell?
Yeah.
It's is it though?
It's on that idea.
Okay, it's a wide brimmed
Okay,
hat.
so
very
who-
wide brimmed.
Who is this DJ Cassidy?
Well, he's somebody that us old folk obviously don't know, and he's probably a DJ on a super famous old school hip hop
He
radio
has to
station.
be because guess what?
he knows everybody.
He pulls people, man.
It's
He
not,
pulls
it's not
everyone.
It's not a Mountie hat. It's almost more of a Juan Valdez kind of a hat.
Yeah, it's not a campaign hat.
It's all the shows are dedicated to hip hop artists, but this one, Volume 2, Pass the Mic Volume 2, it starts with Run DMC, and they are rapping over their song. So they're not going off. You know how sometimes
he's playing the song.
Yeah, sometimes with hip hop songs, when they, do them live or try to do them, off the cuff, it doesn't sound like
It's missing something.
Yeah, so this is dead on.
It's awesome.
And they go from Run DMC, and then they just hit everybody.
It just keeps going.
LL Cool J, Public Enemy, Salt and Pepper, Nice and Smooth, Third Base is MC Search. I almost fell over.
MC Light, Moni Love.
Yeah, Moni in the middle.
Where's she at?
Dougie Fresh, Lords of the Underground, Big Daddy Kane,
EPMD.
LL Cool J, Chub Rock, Chubster, Word Up.
Black Sheep.
Yep. The choice is yours. And I know that Nikki T was totally into it when I posted. I had to repost it and tag everybody I knew that would appreciate it. Definitely check it out. It's 30 minutes long.
It's called Pass the Mic.
It is so good. It's not a fedora hat either.
No, it's like a 10-gallon hat with a straight brim.
Now we're gonna go back and look at it and be like, no, that's not it at all.
But who is this guy?
It doesn't
Because
matter.
everyone's happy to see him.
He's
and he's
locked
happy to
in,
see everybody.
DJ Cassidy.
And he cuts everyone in.
I imagine he's probably out of New York. This was mostly East Coast hip hop.
Wow.
Yeah, he says it's a Panama hat. I'll take it. Sam Avola says Panama hat. That's what I'm going with.
Okay,
It's
I'll
just-
allow it. It's a
He-
big one though.
When LL Cool J gets on, he's in front of all of his platinum records on
Yeah,
the wall.
oh,
and
yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, baller.
And Salt and Pep looks really hot.
Yeah. Well, Salt looks good too.
Yeah, but
I mean, they
I was
all
always
did
a
this
Pep
months
kind
ago
of guy.
during the pandemic. It's been out for like 3 months, and I had no idea. So
Wow.
look it up. DJ Cassidy, Pass the Mic series. This one's volume 2. I'm sure they're all amazing, and we will check them out eventually. But
Now the thing is, guys, I hope you have a little time because I'm saying that from Reverend Run to the end of it.
which is Naughty by Nature. Who ends
Naughty
it.
by Nature,
Yeah.
it's a half hour long.
Yeah.
And it's just one song to another to another to another. And he just brings people in.
Yeah.
And it's
Oh,
nuts.
right, Rob Bass.
It's nuts.
No DJ Easy Rock, but Rob Bass was in the house. I don't think DJ Easy Rock, but even nice and smooth. And then Treble T Roy, they reminisce. Why can't I think of the name of the... Oh, that's Pete Rock and CL Smooth, sorry. Reminisce is like one of the greatest hip-hop songs of all time, if not. It really is. You can laugh at me all you want.
Can you hum it
It's
again?
really good. Really? Are you making fun of me right now?
Oh, I kept it too.
Oh, I just showed some of my
Lord.
cafeteria lady arm.
Oh,
Ew.
God. Extra sloppy.
Put that away. Salt won't say the dirty stuff anymore. She found God. You know,
That's what I say. You find God, you lose the groove. No, I'm just kidding.
I think they just sang.
I'm just kidding, Lord.
Did they just do Shoop anyway? So it was fine.
Yeah.
Because I was, brother, want to thank your mother for a butt like that. Can I get some fries with the shake, shake? He hates it when I do that. I saw Salt and Pepper at the channel.
I mean, it's not.
At the channel. I saw so many great hip hop shows at the channel. I saw Ice Cube and Yo-Yo came out. Don't play with my yo-yo. Just wow. I mean, it was all happening at the same time. The grunge and the punk rock shows were happening too, but it was like they lived, side by side. They were like parallel lanes. But it was
Never
wow.
meet.
Yeah, those channel shows were amazing. I don't know if you guys were at Salt and Pepper, but it was astounding. So that's it. We're just totally ensconced in the 90s hip-hop and very happy. So definitely check out DJ Cassidy and then let us know what you think. Also, Dave is having this weird celery bender. And
Well, I
now
tried-
we
I
have
tried-
to have celery in the
Look,
house at
look.
all times.
I tried to eat my weight in celery this week, and that's no small feat. But I came to the realization while I was picking strings out of my teeth that the celery is really just a delivery system
Yeah.
for peanut butter.
Yeah.
And people think if you sit there with a jar of peanut butter and a spoon, that you're some sort of weirdo pig if you're just eating peanut butter out of a peanut butter jar with a spoon.
I love that band. Weird
But
Pig is
look.
the best.
Look, if you get some really nice celery hearts, right, you wash them. You cut the ends off, okay? Maybe you cut them down to size. What I like to do is, if it's a really big, half-filled peanut butter jar, where you really can't get in there without getting peanut butter on your knuckles, and you know what I'm talking about, okay? What you do is you leave the celery stalks long, cleaned off, but long enough to reach down in there. And no, you're not going to double dip because you're a human. You're not a savage. So you get a huge dollop of it on one. Then you take another celery stalk, a naked one, naked. And then you smear it on there.
Great.
And now you've got the schmearer and the eater. And it is fantastic, people. It's fantastic!
Oh my God. Somebody please help me. Go visit Paulette at the Le Creuset in Assembly Row. That's Alex's lady.
Why, does she have celery?
No, but we went back a little to the Le Creuset. By the way, the Han Solo Le Creuset, MK Kelly says if I have two of them, it's a Han duo. Thank you. She'll be here all week. I
Sadly.
loved it. the repair shop, you guys.
Can I just say one thing? Just one thing. I just said it. One thing about the repair shop that it just occurred to me.
It's on Netflix, everybody.
It just occurred to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like Antiques Roadshow in a way.
Without
these
like
people bring in their treasures to this place.
yes.
They're in disrepair of some sort or other, and this we'll call it a place. It's a show, but
it's fictitious shop.
But it really seems like a shop that you'd want to hang out in and
in
like
jolly old England, and everybody has great
it's got
cute
a
accents.
thatched roof and everything.
Yeah.
And everybody has a speciality.
Yeah.
per se.
So instead of the pretentiousness that sometimes happens all the time on Antiques Roadshow, yes, we picked this up in the south of France.
I can't believe it. It's
been
worth
in
how
our-
much?
It's been in our generation, and then the only good thing about that is like, no, it's a fake, and it's worth about $10. Next.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, it's been passed down from generation to generation.
So on Repair Show, they take these things and they repair them, but they repair them in a lovingly way. Maybe it had some damage on it, which was, in a Nazi concentration camp.
Which we've spoken about.
So they wanted to keep that damage there, even though they want to fix the
because
item.
it's part of history.
It's wonderful. I dare you not to cry. Pretty much every episode at some point,
I don't cry.
you're going for the tissues
I don't
because it's a wonderful show, and it's a great respite to what's going on right now, especially if you hung out during the debate last night.
Listen, let's not even get into that, please.
I'm not, but the repair shop will fill you with love and hope and rainbows and puppy dogs.
Can I get a word in?
Promise.
My God.
Can you get a word in?
Chris. Anyway, it harkens back to a time when things were built to last. Okay?
Okay, but you don't need to tell them any more about
toys
the
are made
show.
out of metal and they run on. It was before like safety.
Yeah, they have a
So
lot
the
of
toys
steam
are like
engine
the toys. There's like you have to light something on fire and like let it go and like it's unreal.
Honestly, I'm not sure how our grandparents even survived with like
Yes.
actual toys that had a flame, an
Well,
actual open flame in there to propel the train or the boat. Or
Well,
whatever.
remember that
It's
great
insane.
aunt Mabel had an eye patch. That explains it. I'm telling you right now. Wow.
Yeah, so the
It's
repair
amazing though
shop,
people weren't like maimed and whatnot.
and Dave and I have officially become Anglophiles, and at some point, I think we're just going to try to have David Rose, our friend from Swindon, adopt us so we can just move over there permanently because it's just lovely. Everything's better with a British accent. I
Yeah.
don't know why it is because I've never really. I mean, sir,
Yes.
I've always loved that stuff, but never to the point of, please take me with you.
Now it's like, okay, now hold still now. I'm going to stick this knife in your gullet.
Yeah.
It's just like...
You're like, okay.
Oh my God, you're so charming. Where, right here?
All right, so speaking of the British shows, we were trying to figure out what to watch this weekend. And Dave was like, can we check out the Pottery Show on HBO Max? And I was like, no.
Listen, she was ready to go to bed.
Yeah, I was like,
And I'm like, okay, it's a little pre-bedtime. Let's check this out. Because if you've ever watched the Great British Baking Show,
which is lovely,
which is amazing,
but
right?
makes you hungry for the bad stuff.
There's a tent out in the British countryside, and
Again,
there's
he's explaining
it's
the whole
amazing, right? And it's just so lovely and quaint, and people with bad teeth bake a lot, but I'm like, okay, British Baking Show was so good. Let's try this. Let's try it.
But I was like, pottery, no. Like, I went to ceramics when I was a kid so my mom could get me out of the house. I have no interest whatsoever. 20 minutes into the show, I am riveted. I am like,
It's
oh
like
my
that's
God.
it. Yes.
Are
And
we
then
going to do that? Is that going to break?
Wait a minute.
Has that been centered?
oh my God. Then it was did we watch 3 episodes in a row or was it just
yeah,
a couple?
Yeah. We went to bed late.
Yeah.
We watched 2 more than we were going to. And at one point, Kendall, my 16-year-old, walked in the room and went, are you kidding me? Mom,
And
you're
we were
not
like-
supposed to be watching these kind of
We're
shows
like,
until
no,
we're
we're not kidding you.
She goes, you're not supposed to be watching these kind of shows until I graduate college. She's like, this is for old people. And we
Let
were
me
like,
tell ya.
yeah, I guess
And
it
listen,
is.
you know what? I ignored her and went back and just sipped my tea and watched the show.
Mary Barry makes sexual innuendos. The hosts are fantastic. The guy, the male host who's got a very unfortunate hairdo.
Yes, he's kind of almost bald,
But a comb over
but he comes
from
over
the back.
straight ahead. So
And
it's like a little, it's like a Cornish.
But
a Cornish,
it comes up at the end like
a tiny
little
bit.
devil
A
horns.
tiny bit.
And I don't know if he's on some kind of hormone medication treatment
his
or
name
whatever. I think so, but
Bradford Strom.
he will start
Jennings.
He will start telling one of the contestants how good a job they're doing, or like, I understand it's difficult, and he'll be like, I understand it's.
Oh.
He starts crying.
He starts getting choked up, and it's the most bizarre thing.
And in the weirdest times, not always.
Makes no sense.
And he gets so emotional. And this
Man
is a
or woman.
big beefy dude.
Yeah, man or woman,
who
like.
has no like problem telling you like you totally messed that up. Yet
Boy,
in
that
these-
sucks. How
but
about
yet
this?
He has these tender moments, and
Where
you're
he just
like,
gets overwhelmed by
it's
feeling.
hysterical.
And we're like, yeah, now I understand why he's into pottery.
Yeah, it's just so give it a shot if you're looking for something else to get your mind off the dumpster fire of 2020. The Great Pottery Throwdown, not to be confused with the Hometown Throwdown, which I'm assuming is not happening this year, but maybe it's happening in some way. Can we check with the Boston?
No, it's more like the homebound throwdown.
I could.
Wow,
maybe I
the guy is quick. You have to say it.
yeah, I mean, I could text Dickie right now, but he'd probably get annoyed with me, so I'm gonna pass for now.
I'll get annoyed.
We'll get some information.